Hi all, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today. I just see Ruth. Yeah, we're just starting now, so maybe if let us know if you can't hear me now in the Q&A. Sorry, we're just running a small bit late today, but let's get started. Today we're doing a webinar on the new I-110. Some of you might be familiar with the older model, but we recently launched with Tobii Dynavox. We launched the newer version of it. We'll just go through all the features and the updates that attain to the new model. If you have any questions, Michael and Ishita are on the sidelines there, and they'll pick up any questions you might ask. Just drop them into the Q&A, and they'll look after you. And I'll keep an eye on it every now and then to see if there's anything you want me to go back on or explain. So let's move on. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Conor Quigley. I've been in Safecare now a couple of years. So Safecare ourselves, we're based in Cork. We work across a lot of different disciplines in relation to assistive technology. Today, obviously, we're focusing on AAC and communication. The I-110 would fall under that category. And here are some of the brands that we work with in relation to supplying our customers around Ireland. So again, the one front and center that we're going to focus on today is Tobii Dynavox, which makes the I-110. So, okay, let's get into what we're here today for. So today we're looking at the new I-110. If you're familiar with the old one, it doesn't look hugely different to the previous version, but the I-110 is a Windows-based AAC device. The new version of the I-110 is faster, stronger, and tougher. We kind of like a quick, very brief way of describing it, so that we can empower our users to communicate quickly, basically. So some of the things we're going to look at today, we're going to explore the features of the I-110, and we're going to learn how the I-110 empowers communicators. Some of these slides come from Tobii, so sometimes they like to, in our slideshows, kind of show how maybe different types of users would use the device. So we have a few slides around that. So okay, so the I-110, it's it's got a lot of powerful features that we use. It's built to keep up. It's a portable solution that can go anywhere, and it's waterproof, so it can go out in the rain. It can the anti-glare on the screen allows you to use it in bright circumstances as well. It's very versatile. It can be mounted, and so for some of our users that use mounts, we can mount the I-110, making it very versatile. It's got a longer battery now, so it's a 10-hour battery on the I-110, and so they've increased the battery runtime, and that just makes it a little bit more reliable. And it's a very practical solution for kind of everyday life. I like this image because it kind of shows kind of a breakfast scenario in anyone's home, really, in the morning. So obviously it's built for communication. So it comes with TD Snap pre-installed on it. We can add other softwares to it, but TD Snap is the one that comes pre-installed on it. It has those extra loudspeakers on it, making sure your voice is heard regardless of the environment. And then obviously it being robust, it's obviously built to last as well. So the I-110 is a purpose-built device, so it's got a very rugged design, and it's very durable. So it's reinforced from the inside out, basically. It's water resistant, as I kind of alluded to earlier, and it's also drop proof from 1.5 meters. And it's got a Gorilla Glass screen on it. They've even, if you're familiar with the old I-110, it was quite a hard screen to break. They made this one even tougher. It's another layer up on the Gorilla Glass, and we've also increased the number of years with TD Care. So the previous model came with 2 years TD Care included. This model comes with 3 years TD Care included. So that gives you a bit of peace of mind around the warranty. So that covers all your accidental damage and etc. So it's just Tobii Dynavox have kind of worked with users and customers over the last couple of years, kind of taking that feedback in relation to the I-110. And seeing where they could improve it, and that's what they tried to do with the new version of the device. So If we look at some of the software that comes on it, so obviously the comes with TD Snap. So you've got the TD Snap Core First page set, which is your symbol-based communication used for developing language and literacy. It's available in multiple languages. Just recently launched Arabic in TD Snap, and for those that communicate from right to left on your screen instead of left to right. So it's constantly adding new languages and supports within it. So you may not be aware, but there's also a TD Snap aphasia. And so obviously this is designed for people with aphasia. So it's for communication support and language recovery. So it's got a few different other features, including kind of whiteboards and rating scales and photo albums, etc. So again, look, we've got lots of webinars and information about TD Snap and TD Snap aphasia. We won't cover them in too much detail today, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. And also, we are, if you're not aware, I don't know how many tickets are left. Shiva might be able to drop it into the Q&A. We are running a tour next week. We're in Cork on Tuesday, Portlaoise on Wednesday, and in Dublin on Thursday, and we'll be doing a whole TD Snap and Boardmaker training day. So if there are some tickets left, I'm sure Sheeta will put it into the Q&A there for you. Make sure you sign up. It's free to attend. So, okay, so if we look at maybe some of our typical users, again, these are some of the slides that come from Tobii, so maybe a little bit Americanized in their language, but I think the idea is always nice to kind of picture somebody using a device when we're kind of thinking of where it might be applicable. So in this instance, they've chosen a preschooler with Down syndrome, Louise, has a wide range of interests and motivating activities. She's ambulant, but has general muscle weakness, and uses TD Snap Core First at school and home. So basically, how can we see with the I-100 fit in her life? She lives a kind of a busy life in school and things like that. She participates in the classroom. Thankfully the device kind of can take that kind of wear and tear. Got that drop tested. It'll take that kind of that kind of everyday activity using it. You've got your speakers, so those loudspeakers, so we're in school, we can be heard no matter where we are in the classroom. So next, sorry, turn one up. So Rosa. Again, 2 years post-stroke. These are people that we're starting to work with a lot more in safe care. Thankfully, we have a lot more solutions now, so we're dealing a lot more with adults maybe who might be post-stroke, and we're using that. The TD Snap aphasia page has been very, very successful since its introduction. So obviously, you've got some kind of points around Rosa there about how she lives her life, but this is very typical of maybe a lot of people post-stroke, want to keep as active as possible, may just have some delays in speech, may just have some kind of weakness in terms of motor ability to use a device. So here maybe the TD I-100 with TD Snap would be a good solution maybe to help her live her life and to communicate. So there are just two people. Bear in mind maybe as we're going through the webinar, think about how maybe this might are people you're working with yourself that may be of use. So let's have a look at the device. As I said, if you're familiar with the predecessor from the I-100, it doesn't look hugely different. So it's got kind of a bit more modern looking, but generally your sizes, etc., are the same. So it weighs 1.15 kg, so it's lightened a little bit than the previous model. So it's just over a kilogram in weight. Still got a 10.1 inch display with Gorilla Glass 5. That's what I meant when I was saying it's gone up a level in Gorilla Glass. The previous version was on Gorilla Glass 4, so it's an even more stronger screen. It's IP55 and 1.5 meter drop tested, so it's given that durability and to withstand, so the IP55 is it's in relation to how waterproof it is, and then the 1.5 meters is your drop tested. That's quite a high. That's about from the top of your car down, kind of maybe depending on your car. If you've got a big Jeep, it's not, but it's a big car, or I think we had a slide before. It's about the size of Danny DeVito. You can drop it from the height of Danny DeVito, and it'll be okay. So it's also got 10-hour active runtime, so that's an increase on the previous version. So we've got longer battery life. So obviously for people that use them that want to communicate all day long, that's giving you a nice kind of addition in the in terms of the battery life. And it also now comes with a protective case. So that used to be an additional extra, it used to be a separate product, but now it comes as part of the device. So you have that protective case around it. You can take it off. It can be taken on and off, but it comes as part of it. So it gives you that extra bit of durability. You don't need to add an extra accessory. It's included with it. So, again, think of your people who use it in school or out in the community. You do have that kind of more durable device. On the front, you've got cameras and light sensors. So you also have a Windows Hello camera. So that means for those that don't want to use passcodes or anything like that. So some of our users can't use passcodes. We need their device to open up directly into our communication software. We can use the Windows Hello allows you to use face recognition to open the device if you wanted to. We've also got our Windows Home button. Again, if you wanted to, it is a Windows device, so if you wanted to leave TD Snap or whatever it is, you do have your Windows Home button. You can enable and disable that. We tend to disable it a lot with maybe with kids, and that we want to keep them within our communication software. We don't want them going out onto the Windows platform, so you can enable and disable that button, but it is there if you need it. On the rear of the device, you've got your you've got your carry strap connection. So it does come with a carry strap. So if you want to, obviously, a lot of our users are very active and mobile, and they want to carry their device with them, whether it's out in the playground or at the shopping center or wherever it may be. So the carry straps allow you to do it. You can fit a mounting plate here. Generally, it's maybe a RAID adapter or a DC mounting plate, and you can put it on a wheelchair stand or a floor stand or a table stand, and so it's just easy to add. It's just an extra accessory for it. We've strengthened the kickstand, and so that was one area that came back just from user feedback, that some people found the kickstand could be a little bit more kind of durable. So that's been strengthened, the kickstand at the back. So again, obviously the kickstand being included on it is a nice way. Some people like to put their device flat on the table, or some people like to have it in a more upright position. So as I said, you've got that integrated kickstand, so you can see it there. If you're familiar with the old one, it looks a little bit different. You obviously have your powerful speakers at the back, so obviously your speakers are facing away from the device, and so therefore you can be heard. You also have a 13 megapixel rear camera, so allows you to take good photos. You can integrate them into TD Snap or use them for whatever it may be. So they've improved the camera. So again, a lot in the TD Snap aphasia, a lot of it can be photo based. So the ability to take good, clear photos is a very strong point and required by a lot of our users. So we've improved the camera on the device. See, next one. Sorry. So again, on the top of the device, you'll find the IR transmitter and receiver. So here, if you want to do some environmental control, if you want to control TV, or you've got infrared lights or whatever it may be, you can control things around the home. You can that's built into the device, and you can program it directly via TD Snap, and have the buttons, as I said, change channel on the TV or turn on and off a light. So again, depending on your users, maybe more adult users might be more focused on that. They may want that. If we think of Rosa, she may have maybe trouble because she may have weight weakness on one side of her body. She may have trouble picking up remotes and things like that. And having the device in front of her, just pressing a button on her software to change channel on TV or turn on the radio would be very beneficial. And we've also got switch ports and a headphone jack in the left-hand side, and these are covered by a kind of a rubber casing. So again, just give it a bit more durability to keep them kind of protected from dust and from water, etc. So switch ports are there available for our switch users. They're integrated into the device, so we don't need any accessories. On the other side, you'll just find your power connector and a USB 3. So it has a USB port on it. So if you wanted to import photos or plug in a joystick or a mouse, you can do it directly by the USB connector. So also on the top, they've changed the buttons a little bit. So what they've done is sunk them a little bit into the device. They've improved the tactile feedback of them, and they've made them more responsive. So it's just a little bit of a change on the device. Nothing major, but you might notice they've changed a little bit. So your power button and your volume buttons are found at the top of the device. Okay, so that's kind of your general overview of what it looks like and the hardware, etc. So we can take a bit of a better look. So we can see how I said at the start, we've made it faster, we've made it more durable, it's lighter, etc. So we can jump into that in a little bit and look at the kind of tech specs of it and how they've done that. And so one of the things they've done is they've made it faster. So again, obviously, one of the feedbacks from the I-110 was sometimes that it could take a little bit of time to turn on. So they've improved that, but it made it faster to start up. They've put a faster processor in it, which that allows you to kind of make a device faster. So the faster the processor, generally the faster your device. They've also improved the RAM has gone up from 4 gig to 8 gig, and the storage has gone up from 128 to 256. So the RAM means that, if you're not familiar with these, it just means a faster response time. And then the storage is obviously the space on the device. So if you want to store more photos and videos or whatever you want, you've got more storage on it. So, usually kind of on a lot of AAC devices, you kind of keep them low because they can drain on the battery. But thankfully in this instance, that hasn't been the case. The chips that we're using, it's a new Microsoft or Qualcomm chip. It just allows you to have a faster processor, but also not drain on the battery. So that's allowed them then to improve the battery life of it. So you've got that kind of 10-hour runtime and a low battery consumption when it's in sleep and standby. Because that's sometimes some people aren't aware that if we just put it into sleep, it does drain a little bit on the battery. But thankfully with the new processors in them, it means that it's a much lower consumption than previously. So you've got your active kind of time of 10 hours, but you've also got a bit of, you're not running down the battery even if you're in, but you're not running down as much as you would have with the previous device in terms of when it's in sleep or standby mode. So they're kind of just some of the kind of back-end tech stuff that's kind of improving it, improving the overall experience with the device. It's more durable, obviously. So, the I-110, really a lot of our users are, they need a rugged device. So this is our solution for them. So it's got that kind of strong internal structure, with the, it's drop tested, it's water resistant. You've got that, IP55 ingress protection. This means you don't have to worry if it gets splashed on or if it's, dropped in a puddle or something like that. And the Gorilla Glass 5, as I've mentioned before, makes the screen even more protected, giving the screen even more protection. And then you've got that improved kickstand at the back and the more tactile buttons on the top as well. So these are all they were little things, but they all kind of add up to a much better solution for the I-110. TD Care, I kind of mentioned this earlier. The I-110 comes with 2 years manufacturer's warranty. So manufacturer's warranty will cover any kind of defects caused by the device itself. But on top of that, with the I-110, you're getting 3 years of TD Care. So TD Care means that you get all your accidental damage is included. So anything that's if it does happen to break or anything like that, it's all covered for 3 years, and that covers everything, including your chargers, etc. And you can extend that for year 4 and 5 as well. So you can actually protect the whole device for 5 years. With 3 years included. So the additional improvements, the Windows Hello camera, I kind of mentioned that at the start. That allows you to kind of log into the device touch-free, so you don't have to enter a code. So a lot of users, maybe some of our adult users that may use their device for things like internet banking or whatever it may be. They could have very personal item things on their device. If they weren't able to enter codes onto their system, if they weren't able to enter a password or a passcode, they had to rely on, help from people, which meant that they had to share passwords and codes and stuff like that. But with the Windows Hello, it allows people to kind of use facial recognition to enter the device. So it allows them to keep their device private to themselves, and they don't have to share those codes. So they've improved the switch input implementation. So the switch scanning is now more robust and less prone to error, basically. So it allows, kind of even faster responsiveness, I suppose, to the switches. The stronger IR, so the infrared transmitter, that's in it. They've improved it. It's now on par with the I-Series. If you're familiar with the I-Series or I-Gaze system, which has a very, very powerful infrared system in it. They've added something very, very similar to the I-110. So they've improved that. they've increased the touch responsiveness of it. So the device responds immediately for a more pleasant experience, obviously. So obviously it can be frustrating for users if they press a button and the message doesn't come out straight away. So they've improved that on the device. They've improved the rear camera. So I mentioned that earlier. So that's gone up from 8 megapixel to 13 megapixel. And then the speakers, there's never been an issue with speakers, so they've kept them the same. So those the speakers are very good. So that's kind of your kind of tech specs and your specifications and the improvements they've made on it. As I said, it doesn't look hugely different to what it did before, but you have those additional improvements allowing for a better experience. So if we look at the different access methods we can use with the I-110. So obviously we've got touch. A lot of our users will use a touch. So there is options like touch enter and touch exit built into it. So touch enter is when you select an object only when somebody keeps their finger on it for a set amount of time. So basically you're putting a hold on the button. So you might want somebody to hold their finger down for a second or so. This kind of helps with somebody who maybe selects things unintentionally, or maybe might be stimming on their device or something like that, and they're might be tapping on a button repeatedly. So it might just kind of help you to hold your finger on the button. So and then it won't say the message until the time eludes. And then you have touch exit, which is kind of it's kind of the opposite. So it's when you select an object, somebody picks up their finger from the screen. So basically, this can be useful for somebody who tends to drag their hand or their finger across the screen. So they might, put their finger on the screen and then drag it across until they get to the button they want. And then it's actually when they take their finger off the screen, that's when it selects it. So both are included on the device and can be very good for users that need those additional kind of access requirements even with as a touch user. And also you've got key guards for every size of grid with TD Snap. So the overlay just goes over the screen and allows people to kind of who might be physically slipping off a button. The kind of slightly raised plastic borders kind of help communicators isolate their finger to press the button. So yeah, these can be a temporary measure or a full solution for somebody. But you can get key guards for every size grid in TD's map. Obviously, we talked about the switch scanning is built into it. So you've got 2 switch ports built into the device. So for those that don't know, switch scanning, you press your button, it highlights, and then you press it again when it gets to what you want. So just you can see the buttons highlighting. And I'll just leave it play so you can see. And you can create your message that way. There you go.
I can do it.
So for our users, then you can set up. There's lots of different ways to manipulate how a switch works with TD Snap, but that's just a simple kind of auto scan and press when it gets to the button you want. So again, that could be a head switch or a chin switch or whatever it may be, as long as it's got a 3.5 in the jack, you can, or a USB, because we do USB port on as well. You can plug it into the side of the device, and away you go. You can also use a head mouse with the I-110, and so the head mouse, for those of you who don't know, is you put a reflective dot on the person's head, and then the camera picks up the movement of the head, and that moves the cursor around the screen. So, so again, there's a mount. You can mount the head mouse to the I-110. There's a bracket that comes with it that you can add the head mouse to the top of the screen, and then the user can have it maybe on their wheelchair mount or their table mount or wherever it may be, and then the cursor will pick up their head movement, so they can select then what they want to select on the device. So so as I said, look, there are some new accessories in terms of the keyguard holders are slightly different. The mount plate is a little bit different, but apart from that, generally everything is the same as the original kind of like that head mouse connection plate was available for the previous I-110 as well. It's the same one, so it fits. Even if somebody has an older I-110, but the head mouse connection fits as well. Okay, so there are your kind of different access methods. Obviously, there's a USB port on it as well. So if you have something else like a customized joystick or a mouse or anything like that, you can plug them in as well, and they'll work on the system. So these are just kind of a look at kind of some of the kind of more specialized access methods within the I-110. So again, we look at the software. There is TD Snap Core First. You've got TD Snap Aphasia. So TD Snap Core First is your symbol-based communication. Again, we're not going to go into this too much today. You have all those access methods built into it. Your aphasia page looks quite different. So you've got different kind of communication tools in terms of like whiteboards and word lists and rating scales and photo albums and calendars, and so kind of much more designed for somebody maybe with a pitch. So it's got symbol and text support, and it uses the different types. It uses the context symbols, the PCS symbols, so they're slightly different because generally our users are adults, so therefore sometimes they find your egghead PCS symbols a little childlike. So in the TD Snap Aphasia, we use those in context and thin line symbols. So again, look, we've got lots of information on those if you want to, or if you want to touch base with us after, we can go through any of these if you're unfamiliar with them. Okay, so here's things like the whiteboard and the rating scales. And the two of them, you can choose between them. So if we think of, the people, that we were looking at the start, we've got Louise, maybe we'd use the TD Snap Core First, and Rosa would choose the TD Snap Aphasia. There is a TD Snap text page, so you think if any are using that, or you think it's disappeared, that is still there. So it's not really part of this presentation. That's just the bits about it. There is a text-based page set as well that you can use in TD Snap. And there's also, if you haven't seen any of the kind of updates lately, there's also a pod page set, and there's a gateway page set as well, and we've bilingual page sets. Yesterday I was working with a little girl who was a Spanish and English speaker, so it's very easy to. A bilingual page set means that there's one button and automatically everything on the page changed to Spanish, and she could just press that button again and it's changed back to English. And it's really good to kind of see it working for those bilingual users. Right. Okay. So just to kind of recap, there on the I-110, they're kind of the new features. Built to keep up, built to communicate, and built to last. So same kind of message as the predecessor, but just made some improvements, kind of taking that feedback over the last couple of years and made those improvements. If somebody asks me, I just say, look, it's faster and it's more durable. Kind of what I say to kind of a lot of people, and got a longer battery life. So they're all positive things to add to the device. So I think it's having played around with some of the new ones there that have come in, it's you can notice those improvements nearly straight away when you turn them on. They're also, unless you request, they come on Windows 11. So unless you request it to be on Windows 10, they'll automatically come with Windows 11. So that might be new to a lot of people using Windows 11. But look, it generally doesn't really matter. The software kind of loads up and kind of bypasses Windows for most of our users. But if there are some users that want to use the Windows side of it as well, it's coming with Windows 11 generally as standard, unless you ask for it in Windows 10. I thought kind of just while we're here, just to kind of give you a comparison, just our kind of like the I-110 is our all-encompassing kind of durable device. We get a lot of questions about the SC tablet as well, so I thought, for comparison, just to see what might be a comparative product, would be the SC tablet. So our SC tablet was launched in 2021, kind of early 2021. And so if you're familiar with the old speech case, this one is based on it's an iPad-based system. So it comes with the cover itself. So it's the speech case cover around the iPad has, we've increased the durability on that. So it's got crash corners on it. It's got integrated switch ports on the SE tablet as well. You have your loudspeakers. It's got an ergonomic design, so it looks quite nice, and it's quite easy to hold. It also is mountable, and you also have key guards available for it. So similar to the I-110, you've got a lot of those features built in that you require for our AAC users. So even though this is an iOS solution or an iPad solution, we still want to add those features to it. So it's designed to fit the iPad 10.2, so it's a 10.2 inch screen, and so a lot of our users want to actually use iPads. So this is our solution for that. So you've got your cover, you get all the hardware, it comes preloaded with TD Snap, you get that kind of whole entire experience of the iOS store. So if you want to add other apps, or if you need other apps, like it comes with TD Snap, but if you want other apps on it, let us know when you're purchasing it, and we can have them preloaded as well. And then obviously, instead of going to your local wherever and buying an iPad or buying on the web, having that support from ourselves, and then it's not just tech support. We're there for assessments and loans and all of that. So it kind of brings you into the safe care kind of system where we'll kind of we have all that support for you as well. So that's kind of it. It's also a medically graded device, so it's in line with, and so is the I-110, by the way. I should have said that. It's in line with the MDR regulations that kind of came into play last year. So our SD tablet and the I-110 meet those requirements. So this is it. This is our SD tablet. So it is durable. It is loud. It's ergonomic. So if you want an iPad-based system, it becomes a complete AAC solution. Simple and intuitive for user experience. So those people that are familiar with using iPads, are familiar with using that iOS or that iOS interface, they might prefer this option. It's got obviously your full service offering, so you can get everything in one place. And you've got two options available: it's 64 gig and it's 256 gigabyte. So you got two options in terms of its size. So it's not as durable as our i110. Doesn't have your kind of infrared control built in, things like that, but it is still, it's a very, very popular solution for us. So for those of you that might be aware of our SD tablet, they're kind of our two, the i110 and the SD tablet are our two kind of main devices for our touch and switch users. Okay, so that's generally kind of an overview of the mainly the i110, but just to give you kind of a brief kind of idea of the SD tablet as well.